All right, guys. So today we're doing sum and difference identities. You need the purple worksheet. It is attached in Google Classroom if anybody needs it. This is where we are going to find things on the back of our reference sheet. Okay. We're using these sum and difference identities. We are also going to do one example from the double angle section down here. Okay. So the first thing you're doing is you're just reading the question and making sure we draw the triangles in the right quadrants. So it says, given that there's some cosecant of an angle alpha, that little funny symbol is an alpha, is 13/5 and pi over 2 is less than alpha is less than pi. What quadrant is that in if it's between pi over 2 and pi? Quadrant 2, okay? And then it says there's a tangent of beta, different angle, okay? Beta is between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi, which would be quadrant 4. All right, so then we are going to draw these because can you look at this law that or identity we're trying to use? Can you tell me what the sign of alpha minus beta is? Look on your sheet and read it to me. Sine, how does it go? Sine A times cosine B minus, is it minus or plus? Thank you. All right, that's what we're going to have to plug values into in a minute. So we need to find the sine and cosine. So I'm going to go back up here, draw a quadrant 2 triangle. How am I going to label this if I know its cosecant is 13/5? Well, how about I just flip it over? What's the reciprocal of cosecant? So the sine is 5/13. We're going to need that in a minute anyway. But I'm also going to label opposite over hypotenuse as 5/13. How are we going to figure out cosine? Because we're going to also need cosine down here, you notice. What? Right here it says cosine, we're going to need it in a minute. We got to do Pythagorean theorem, and it's one leg is 5, the other leg we don't know. We know the hypotenuse is 13, so we would subtract the 5 squared. We get 144, which is 12. There's a problem. Does anybody know what the problem is? It's not 12. Because we're going left. That's probably the most common mistake is people forget the signs, okay? So when we go back up here and write down the cosine, I like to write them down next to it so that I can just refer to them in a second here, but the cosine is negative 12/13. All right, then I'm going to flip over and do this quadrant 4 triangle that we're calling beta. Okay, where am I going to put the 3 and the 4 here? Tangent is opposite, which would be over here. Oops, nope, that's supposed to be a number, not an O, sorry. That should be a 3, and adjacent should be a 4. Which one of those is negative? Because the tangent was negative 3/4. Okay, how do we know the 3 is negative? Because it's going down. All right, does anybody know that? We have both legs. Yep. So we get 25 equals hypotenuse squared, and we get a 5. 3, 4, 5. When you have two sides of like a 3 and a 4, is the 5, is the third side always 5? Only if it's a right triangle and the 3 and the 4 are legs, right? So you got to be careful. You got to make sure you have a right triangle, etc. Okay. The most common mistake, other than making sign mistakes, is when students write out what the sign is equal to. Did y'all copy that down? Then they start writing this. Don't write this down. They write the sine of 5/13. Does anybody know what's wrong with that? Yeah, it says up here the sine of alpha is 5/13. We don't need a sine anymore. Do you see what I'm talking about? You are putting in place of this the number 5/13. And what's going to go times the cosine of beta? What's that? Oh, I didn't write those down. What's with me? This one was cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse is 4/5. And sine is -3/5. I just usually write them all down. I do ask you on the quiz because I want to be able to give partial points or partial, you know, how far you got, where you made your mistake kind of points. Okay, so what's happening here? Cosine of beta was 4/5. Then it's minus, and it says cosine of alpha, which is -12/13, times sine of beta, which is -3/5. Now, just for fun, I'm going to show you that it's not that hard to do these without using the calculator for all of these parentheses, but it's fine if you do. You would multiply across the top and get 20/65. Then it'll say minus. What's a -12 times a -3 across the top here? +36, and 13 times 5 is 65 in the bottom. Now, 20/65 reduces, but do we want to reduce? Why is it not a good idea to reduce? Because now for the subtracting, we need what? Common denominator. And what is 20 minus 36? Okay. You should have gotten that if you typed it. Okay, 5/13 times 4/5. And then it was minus, can anybody tell me the other two? Negative something. Negative again? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Then I got to do a math enter. I'm like, why am I hitting enter twice? -16/65? What was your question, Peyton? 4 times 18 is 72. Yep, you're okay. On the same space on your worksheet, it asks us to do one more using these same triangles. It says cosine beta minus alpha. Can anybody give me that one off the sheet? Okay, I'm going to use the order that they have them here as beta and alpha, but it wouldn't matter if you switch them around. So in any order, you got to put the two cosines, and then you have to subtract, and then the two sines. Do I have it right, guys? Okay. Multiplication can be in any order, but subtraction has to be in the middle here. Okay. What are we going to put in for our values? Cosine of beta is 4/5, and the cosine of the other one was -12/13. Good job. Minus -3/5 times 5/13. So I get -48/65 minus -15/65 minus a negative becomes plus positive. You can just do it all on your calculator. It's fine. I got -33/65. Did anybody do it on the calculator and get that? Yeah. Anybody not getting that? Need help? All right, does this seem pretty good? It's time consuming. I don't know about hard. Okay, let's try the next one. Let's talk about where this angle is. This is not the next one, just kidding. This one, right? Okay, oh, this time they tell us quadrants. We have quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Actually, I drew the triangles for you and labeled some of the sides because I was trying to save time.
That's like half of the process.
Yeah.
Is it G or G? Well, both.
All right. Quadrant 1 is angle A. And it says the sine is 3/5. So where am I putting those? Opposite hypotenuse. Anybody know this one?
4.
Yep. 25 minus 9 is 16. Square root is 4. Okay. This one has cosine, which is adjacent over hypotenuse. -7 down there, and the hypotenuse is always positive. Everybody good with that part? Do we need a negative on this one when we find it? No, because it's going up. It's a positive y coordinate. So we'd have -7 plus the y squared equals 25 squared. This is 49. You don't have to write all that work down, but 576 square root of that's 24. We okay? Does anybody struggle with Pythagorean theorem? Everybody's okay? Okay. And this is angle B. So they gave us that the sine of this first one was 3/5. And what was the cosine after we drew it? 4/5. It's very quiet. Is everybody okay that the cosine was 4/5? Okay, what about this one? They gave us the cosine, but what's the sine? Okay, what are we supposed to find? Sine of A plus B. How does that one go?
Sine A, cosine B plus cosine
I don't know if I wrote that right. Can you double check? That's probably not right. Did I write it wrong?
A. No, it's the same.
Was this supposed to be switched around?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll fix it just because I don't want anybody to be confused. So it said sine B cosine A? Is that how it said it?
Sine A, cosine B, and plus cosine
Oh my gosh, so I just wrote it down wrong twice? What's the second one?
A.
Sine
Cosine A
cosine A sine B. Whew. Okay, let's try our numbers. Remember, we are replacing the whole function with a single number. Don't write the word cosine or sine. What do we have? What's B? You guys don't need me. You're already done with this, aren't you?
Oh, God, this stuff.
Yeah, it does look weird because it reduces, doesn't it? Oh, it's positive.
I got like 593 over 1,000.
Oh, yeah, no, you did something wrong. Does it reduce to 3/5? Let me look. Yes, did you want to come up and do the last problem? Okay.
Wait, so what was
Oh my God, I got this. Let's see.
You know, this is what confused me because I looked in here, it said quadrant 3 right next to cosine of y, but it's talking about this one is quadrant 3.
What about cosine y?
The cosine y is quadrant 2.
Oh, you only want to mark it.
Sure, you do it.
Let's see. You got this. So we got.
You guys do it and see if he does it right.
I'm messing you so bad.
Come on, Shane.
Hold on. No, I'm doing it right though.
Do you need to calibrate it maybe?
I'm gonna erase that and recalibrate.
Push the little circle one that has a question mark down there.
I would have killed you to that in elementary school.
No.
Yep, you're good.
Alright, so this is.
Are you done yet, guys? You're supposed to be doing it on your own.
Like that. Logic, reason.
Yes.
So this one is not so obviously that's not right.
Yes, it is.
Is it Martin? Have you tried writing this? What's that?
Is that the hypotenuse? It's okay, the student teacher did the same thing.
Alright, so now I gotta find. I need a calculator. I'll be right back.
To be continued.
So we already got let's do these with that. This is so bad. Why is it being weird?
I don't know, it is being weird.
I think you just want to finish it off.
Okay.
I'm doing alright, but it's just having a hard time.
What happened over here though? Yes, thank you, Adrian. The 15 should be negative because it went left, okay?
Oh, it wasn't calibrated.
All right. Can anybody read me the one for cosine x minus y?
Cosine A, cosine B, plus sine A, sine B.
I don't know if that's right. Does anybody? It should be positive? Oh yeah, because a positive plus a smaller negative would be positive, yes. Thought I made a mistake earlier, but just the very last step.
Yeah, I would have got that eventually.
You would have, I know you would have.
It's so difficult.
Okay, This is,
Oh, 36.
Oh my gosh. So is this backside of the homework?
okay, please listen for a second here so I can finish the video. The homework, it's okay. The homework is to finish the worksheet and also do a couple delta math questions. I just want to show you, I'm not going to take any more of your time up, but look at on the delta math, it says they are positive acute angles. What does acute mean? Yes, so what quadrant are they all going to be in? Quadrant 1. Does that, everybody okay on that? Now, I will tell you, look at the size of these numbers. You get some like 4-digit fraction. It's like, 1325 over 1791 or whatever. They're really big numbers, okay? There is also, 2 of the questions on delta math are not sum and difference formulas. Can you look at your reference sheet real quick? This is a double angle one. Now, there are 3 trades, right, that you can make for cosine of 2 theta? Which one would be easiest for this particular question? Why is Adrian picking the last one? Yeah, do you see there's one though where you only have to know the cosine? You don't have to even draw a triangle for this one then, right? And the formula says, is it 2 cosine squared minus 1, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, that's one of the trades. So we can put this in here. It would be 2 times 60 over 61. You do have to square it. Minus 1. Type that real quick. I just want to give you an example of the lovely numbers that you get in delta math.
Oh, yeah.
What did you get?
That's a nice one. 3,479 over 3,700.
21, like that?
That's a good answer.
Did someone else get that? So we're pretty sure we're right? Okay. You just type it in as an exact fraction in delta math. But there are a couple of double angles. So you have 4 delta math problems, and to finish the purple worksheet, go.
Bathroom break, please.